Welcome back. Well, the relentless efforts of Egypt to alleviate the sufferings of the Palestinian people are continuing since day one of the genocide war of Israel in Gaza. And last but not least, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, ordered the military planes loaded with food material and humanitarian aid to start airdrop operations for the sake of our Palestinian brothers in the war-torn enclave. To shed more light on the efforts exerted by Egypt to help the Palestinians and to reach a comprehensive, sustainable ceasefire, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone His Excellency Ambassador Gamel Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. A very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, good morning. How are you?
Sir, what I'm going to say about the relentless efforts of Egypt. For the fifth month in a row, until the moment, every effort can be exerted, is exerted on the ground. And as I was saying in my intro, the last but not least, it was the airdrop operations as ordered by President Sisi, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces. Is it a last resort, or until when this is going to continue this way, with the Gaza Health Ministry saying that the death toll or the martyrs who fell since the start of the genocide war reached more than 30,000 Palestinians, mainly women, children and minors?
Yes, Egypt would never spare any efforts in order to help our brothers in Palestine and in Gaza especially. And this disastrous situation is much more very severe against the Palestinians. And the history is telling us that Egypt never spares any energy or money or victims of war in order to support this cause.
Yeah.
Now we are facing a serious problem of killing, as you rightly said, children, women, and old people who never fight against anybody.
Yeah.
This is the situation. And God help the Palestinians and help us to support them in order to remain in their places, not to leave their country and their houses. And the strong position of standing Palestinian is the only weapon we have now. We will never agree that the Palestinians to leave their country, although thousands already left in previous history. But now this is the moment of truth. Nobody will accept this aggression. Nobody will accept to leave their country. And the relatively success story that we succeed to gather the whole world behind us. No one single country is defending the Israeli aggression except the United States, which is really using a sort of double standard policy. Sometimes they are
Polarization. And sir, if you permit me to echo what you have just said, the latest massacre which took place on this day, when the Israeli occupation forces opened fire on people who were rushing to the aid trucks just to receive some food for themselves and for their children, and more than 118 Palestinians fell martyrs by this. And this was a source, of course, of condemnation from the whole world and from many international organizations, the European Union, the African Union, the United Nations, and all countries, all world leaders. Do you think that this is going to be a turning point or a source of pressure on Israel to accept the ceasefire and to go to the right track at least for once, or this is going to go en passant, as the French are saying, as one of the massacres of the Israeli occupation forces?
Yes, we hope to continue pressuring Israel to go to the wise side of the story. But I am optimistic all the time, but in this case, I'm not optimistic at all. We are facing some criminal government which doesn't shy to tell that they are going to continue the killing. And unfortunately, that America is not strong enough to tell them to stop this massacre. It seems that there is a hidden agreement between the United States and Israel to continue this killing process up till a certain point. We don't know what exactly, but they are doing that, and at the same time, now we succeed to have the whole world behind the cause of Palestine, whether in the United Nations, whether in the African Union, in Europe, the Islamic countries, the African countries. The whole world is really furious about what's going on.
And whether...
It's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
And also, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi or Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri, they were keen in every occasion to renew the warning that this conflict is going to spread in the Middle East and to destabilize the whole region. It's not going to be in one place or only in the Palestinian territories. How do you see this as a warning, and how do you see the reception of the world to such a warning, particularly after what's going on in the Red Sea, for example, and what the Houthis are doing with the shipping route?
This is a correct warning, especially when we see that the whole region is not stable. Whether in Palestine and Gaza, whether in Syria, they are not. There are 4 or 5 foreign forces occupying part of Syria. Lebanon is not in a good condition. Libya is divided. Sudan is divided. The Houthi in Yemen and what they are doing. Somalia and the threats from Ethiopia and so on. So the whole region is very delicate and in a very bad situation. So we don't need one more disastrous situation in Palestine. And as you rightly said, it can be expanded to call for other parties to enter in this war. Something which we are trying to avoid in the coming future.
Yeah. Yesterday, Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri and his Qatari counterpart, Sheikh Hamad bin Abdurrahman bin Jassim Al Thani, they co-chaired the higher joint committee meetings, and they had talks before the committee regarding the Gaza issue and regarding the mediation efforts. Whether, of course, the United States is sharing or has its share, the Egyptian, the Qatari mediators, and now the only hope we have is to try to reach a ceasefire before. But said it, all efforts should be exerted and intensified as we don't have. Hello?
Yes, the voice is stopped sometime.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
I was speaking about our top diplomat, Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri.
Yes, I was following this, and of course, Sameh Shukri, I don't know when he is spending one day in his house. As a matter of fact, he's going everywhere in the world. And the president is receiving every single day either calls from his counterparts or calling his counterparts, receiving presidents, visiting other countries. Really is a very active diplomacy in order to support all these causes, whether of Palestine or the whole region or the development of Egypt and the Arab world. Mm-hmm. So it's really a very active diplomacy. The new thing about it is that we are using the presidential contacts, which is very effective, and we shall never stop. We have to reach a point where peace and security is maintained everywhere around us, but it is very difficult with such a very extremist government in Israel,
In Israel, yes.
and they do not deny this. The problem, I always repeat about it, it's not that they are extremists, but they are ignorant about how to rule a country, their own country. That's why some wise men in Israel itself started to ask Netanyahu to resign. We
My
have a
question,
problem
sir,
in Israel that we don't have
yeah. My
a
question, sir,
government
is
of majority in order to have the guts to, or the courage to sign a peace treaty with the Arabs and the Palestinians.
a peace treaty is now a very far hope. What I'm talking about is that, as you've kindly mentioned, Foreign Minister Shukri was in Antalya for the Antalya Forum, and he chaired, or he was a key speaker in the Gaza Contacts Conference in Turkey, and then he moved to Qatar, to Doha, for another meeting with his counterpart, tackling, among other issues, the Gaza issue and the efforts exerted to reach a ceasefire. But he said in both countries, and what he said was echoed by the American president, that we are trying to reach a ceasefire before the holy month of Ramadan to last for several weeks. Is it possible, or with the stubborn extremist government of Israel, it's not possible?
It must be possible, but the secret is that Israel convinced the President of the United States and the government of the United States that they need to continue killing. And it seems that there is a secret between them. So for my wonder, and for the whole world wonder, that the Americans veto against a resolution at the United Nations Security Council to stop the war. I do not understand that how the Americans can explain this attitude to their own people, where they voted alone against the resolution, while other 13 countries were with the resolution to stop the war. There is a secret agenda, of course, and we have to live with this. But our main weapon, it will be to support the Palestinians to stand and to stay in their own country, although we have a massacre against this armless people. But we have to live with it. We have to live with it, and we hope in the long period, Israel will get fatigue. They cannot continue like that. They do not have the means or the army enough to continue killing on all the fronts, whether with Syria, whether with Lebanon and the Palestinians. It's too much for a country the size of Israel. I hope that they will get tired one day to come.
Well, we hope that the holy month of Ramadan is going to come with peace and with more stability in the Middle East, and with no more killings of the Palestinian innocent people. Well, Ambassador Gamel Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you very much for your input, sir, and have a very good day. Right after the short break, we are going to turn back with more, so stay tuned.